So we begin. The previous section gives us the description of the experience of the divine, the transcendent supreme, which Ashwapati is going through. He sees the light of the presence in all things. He recognizes the play of the divine plan in all circumstances. So, I did the last lines of the previous section because it gives a continuity. He read from within the text of the without. The riddle grew plain and lost its catch obscure. He read from within the text of the without. The without is the outside world of manifestation. The whole play of slow emergence of light out of darkness, the resistance of darkness. But he reads from within. That means he goes through the experience and finds that that darkness is the divine also. There is nothing but that. So there is no riddle, there is no opposition, there is no clash. One is a preparation for the other stage. And a larger luster lit the mighty page. The mighty page is the plan of the divine, you might say, text, as if the divine has a whole description of a universal text, and he sees the light everywhere. In the lowest darkness and the lowest inconscience, the play of the divine consciousness is there. If you read this time's mother's talk that is put in the bulletin, she's saying exactly the same thing. In the darkness, she's experiencing, in the sorrow, in the pain, the preparation of the gradual emergence of consciousness and light that has to break out of its resistance. And that is why there is death, there is pain, there is difficulty. But they become opportunities for the breaking out of light, the breaking out of consciousness, out of unconsciousness. That is when he sees that there is no riddle, there is no opposition. It is not something that is a puzzle. Otherwise, we often ask ourselves, why is there so much that is apparently painful and wrong and dark and ugly if the divine is the creator of the whole universe? There is fundamentally no, you might say, essential darkness. Darkness is a condition created by the divine so that we come out of our lethargy, we come out of our ordinary state, we look at experiences and the divine blessings should be there, we'll be protected by the divine, no hurt and harm should come, so that the individual does not really grow in his conscious experience. He has to pass through these experiences. We are made to evolve from the lesser to the greater, and the evolution is not straightforward. It has its own curves of rising and falling, of churning. We have to break out of all that resistance that is we have got used to our weakness. We accept our weakness and we say, I can't do it. You have to do it for me. That is the attitude we usually have. We are not children of darkness. We are children of light. And that darkness too is hidden light. A larger luster, therefore a greater light. There is no darkness. Met the mighty page, the whole expression, description of the universe, a purpose mingled with the whims of time. Whims of time that seem to be whimsical. Why in the play of manifestation are there moments of pain? You say this is undivine. Why is there so much error? Why have we to make as if crawl our way out of a tunnel? Time is the field of experience. Time is where we grow. Time is where we change. If we go out of the world of time, we enter into eternity. If we rise up. If we go down into the world of before time, we enter into the absolute unconscious formation of formless energy. Time is our whole opportunity for change, for growth. And in that world of time, there is a plan that is slowly emerging like a graph. And we are supposed to move along that plan. So a meaning mingled, a meaning met the stumbling pace of chance. Otherwise, we say it's all sudden. Suddenly, there are moments which are I passed through difficulties, then now I'm protected, now I'm saved from the problem. The whole thing is always a working out of the divine plan. Nothing is outside the play of the divine plan. So it is not something whimsical, something that happens without any explanation. And fate revealed a chain of seeing will. Seeing will is conscious force. Will is power, will is force, and seeing will is conscious force. Fate is not blind. Fate is not random. There is again he's passing through that, repeating the same statement. This creation is really meant to be ultimately, outwardly, the manifestation of the divine. At present, that divine is not manifest. The divine presence is latent. It is man's business. It is only man who can remove the darkness by his own conscious sadhana. Only man. Remove the resistance, the ignorance. This is the task given to man. That the universe, we have not been given a divine world on a platter. We have been given a world where we are expected to participate in the manifestation of the divine. At present, we think we are weak, we are undivine, we are human. To participate in that, to take part in that play, slowly emerge into a world where there is no longer any opposition, where pain also is a form of ananda, where darkness is a form of light. All these so-called opposites that mind likes to make, divide everything into light and darkness, true and false, good and bad, all these are simply excuses almost, one could say, where we make excuses for our restriction. You say, this much I leave out, this much is good, this much I want, this much I don't want. That will always keep us narrow. It's not that we have to enjoy the darkness. We have been given the experience, we have to make use of that experience to pass through the problem of inconscience and emerge into the height of light. And this is really a sadhana. And this is why Ashwapati has done it. This is Sri Aurobindo's yoga. The yoga of the spirit's freedom. The spirit is not trapped in the darkness. As we are today, we feel trapped. A conscious wideness filled the old dumb space. In the void, he saw throned the omniscient supreme. All things that seemed to be a play of unconscious dumbness, meaninglessness, void is nothing but part of the divine wisdom, omniscient. So, I skip a few lines in the next section because we read it last time. We have to learn in living symbols, study reality. Symbol is an outer expression. We have to enter into the significance of the symbol. It's not, for instance, many of us wear mother's symbol on our rings. It's not just wearing a symbol. What does it stand for? Are we conscious of what we are holding, carrying on us? That complete manifestation of the Divine Mother. Study it as life, experience, truth, living symbol. It's not simply an automatic sense of, I'm wearing Mother's symbol and so I'm protected. It has become often like that, considered like that. I am not protected because I take it for granted. I don't give it its value. If I realize what a special privilege it is to have been given the chance as a human being to recognize the manifestation of the Divine Mother in all her forms. The different petals are representations of her, all her different forms. And it is through us that this slow emergence of the divine conscious force is really decided to manifest itself. The ideal must be, this is the logic of the infinite, this is the plan. It's almost a contradiction in terms. Logic is something that is quite well organized, fixed. The infinite doesn't have any fixity, any shape, any form. The play of opposites is obviously purposely done, that we don't realize that the infinite has its own way of working. Sri Aurobindo also has spoken of the upper hemisphere as well as the lower hemisphere. In the upper hemisphere is the hemisphere of where there is no unconsciousness, no ignorance, no subconscious. We are in a state of the divine play of consciousness. In that upper hemisphere, there is also a certain working out which follows its own laws, not our mental laws. Logic is a mental mode of reasoning. Reasoning follows its own logic, its own patterns. It is fixed. In the infinite, it is not fixed. It is not strangled. But there is no discord. There is no disharmony. There is no chaos. It works itself out spontaneously. Because the harmony, it is the law of harmony, not the law of discord and disharmony. The ideal must be nature's common truth. Nature is not ideal. The opposition he is making at present, the ideal is a world of perfection that exists in the upper plane, in your higher mind. Usually the ideal is not real. You have a formation of a perfect truth or perfect mode of action, but it's a formation that is abstract. In that abstraction, there is no realization. Ideal and real are two opposites. He says the ideal has to become common. The opposition is not there. Nature is the world of manifestation. The ideal is not usually manifested. The ideal stays in its world of ideas. It's abstract. This abstract has to become concrete, real. But it has to precede. At first, for a long time, we follow ideals, knowing that it's a form of perfection that we have not learned to live, but we can conceive in our higher mind. This should be the reality. This should be our existence. We can conceive, and then to make it happen on the ground, so that the opposition of what is on the ground is matter, nature. The opposition between spirit and matter is not there anymore. At present, the opposition seems to be there. There's something that is in the world of the spirit, something that is in the world of matter. And in the world of matter, there are all kinds of bumps and holes and potholes and things that really makes us stumble and fall. In the ideal, everything seems to be smooth and beautiful and perfect. Why should it always stay up there? Why can't we make our physical world? Nature is the power of change, the field of change. She is Mother Nature. She helps us to grow. She helps us to evolve. She has the responsibility. She has been yearning for this. That's why earlier you had a beautiful line that she is ignorant, maybe. She is struggling, yearning for change, but she is invincible. She will go on. Earth is really the field of all that has to really represent the ultimate manifestation of the truth. The ideal is not the world of manifestation. It is in the world of conception. To make manifest, to make real, to make something that is an existence of our daily truth. That is what nature is. It's a field of experience. It has to be common every day, all the time. Everything has to be perfect. This is why we see if you read the mother's words, the love of perfection in the smallest things. How to put, even in a box, how to put an object. How to make it really represent reality, as it should be. There is no place where she forgives, accepts error. Error is it's a middle term. We are not perfect, what we do will not be perfect. So it is as if the dream of perfection helps us to recognize our own lacks, our own errors, and says, something is missing in me. Why can't I do this? Something is lacking. I am not conscious in my hands. I am not conscious with my voice. I am not conscious with my physical body. I have a notion in my head of what should be true. But why can't I express it in my daily living? That is common truth. To put it in the least experience of daily life. That is the change. There is no opposition between the material and the spiritual, between the supramental and the daily physical world. So the ideal must be nature's common truth. The body, illumined with the indwelling God. And why is it not impossible? Because the divine is there. A person whom we don't recognize, whom we don't know, our true self, whom we have turned our backs to that being. He is inside us. Bring that presence out in the open, so that our way of living, our thinking, of eating, of sleeping, of moving, everything in our daily activity, that is the whole difference between the yoga of Sri Aurobindo and the other earlier yogas. The other yogas always said, yes, you can recognize, you can realize the divine, but you follow different paths of knowledge or bhakti or action, but withdraw from the external life and enter into an ascetic mode of tapasya, and you will experience the divine if you follow it up to the end. But you have to leave this external world. So, and that is outwardly symbolized by wearing orange robes or sitting inside a cave. It is not easy, certainly, but it is not the yoga of Sri Aurobindo. It is as if we have been put in this earth with all its complexities, not that we should leave it behind and turn to something else. We have to take our difficulties with us, carry the load as we go along, slowly straighten ourselves, experience that this load is the reason why we are proceeding forward. It becomes a help, a conscious, continuous presence. Because of the difficulty, I have to grow, I have to change, I have to fight, I have to work my way. This is the reason why I have been given a chance. It is not that only the few selected persons who are already pure, they are allowed. Why should they be given? Why not those who are weak? All of them are part of the divine family, but they have to grow out of their weakness. Their work is harder. Therefore, The body, where the most material base, where this foundation of matter is there, illumined with the indwelling God. The heart and mind feel one with all that is. A conscious soul live in a conscious world. The soul is conscious, but the outer being is not. The connection between one and the other should remain constant. The outer being, the outer nature, the outer expression becomes an expression of the soul, of the spirit. The way we see things, we see not with eyes, for instance, only. We see things with the spirit. The spirit within us sees. When we use a voice or we sing, the spirit within us should sing. And it does, to a certain extent. It is a very, sometimes a vital spirit that speaks. It is a very intermediate level, so you have all kinds of different sounds emanating through the voice, not the person. Excitement and pleasure and pain and all these things that are so complex that they catch our attention, but behind it all is the divine. That should emerge in our thinking, in our speaking, in our movements, in our action. When you move and you... Later he gives the image, the dance with your body. It is the movement of the soul that is moving the body. It is not the body. Or the body is also soul. That is the truth. Flesh and nerve is also spirit. So, he now continues, the spirit is everywhere. As through a mist, a sovereign peak is seen. For a long time, you can just perhaps have a glimpse of the highest consciousness. He gives you the image of a very tall mountain. Often in the spiritual experience, world of experience, mountains are used. There is a similarity. Mountain represents perhaps the aspiration of the earth, climbing higher and higher. And some of it breaks out of the clouds. There are peaks that are above the clouds. The sky symbolizes the ceiling of mind. Mind is a ceiling. It goes beyond the mind. But you just see the topmost shining peaks of snow in the sunlight of the Supreme Consciousness, and it is gorgeous. But below it are mists. The mental lack of absolute clarity. In the mind there is half-light. There is possibility of error. So as through a mist, a sovereign peak is seen, the greatness of the eternal spirit appeared, exiled in a fragmented universe. This is what happens. The spirit in our world is exiled. We have divided our world. And there is a highest plane, the plane of consciousness, where sometimes after a period of concentration or meditation or tapasya or being indrawn, we can connect with that inner indwelling God. And then we break out of that and we come back to the external life, and a certain, that connection is outwardly broken, or at least less there. So we live in fragments. This is my bodily experience, this is my vital experience, this is my mental experience. In fact, mind has no experience. Mind judges, mind classifies, mind understands, mind doesn't experience. Except one part, the aspect of imagination, which helps you to break out of the mental, logical formulas. It can be a help. So we live in fragments. We are not entire people. We live, and we sometimes recognize the presence of the Spirit amid half semblances of diviner things. Therefore, all that we experience the best, they are semblances, copies And a copy is not authentic. It is not the whole truth. So sometimes it is not that our life is completely always lived in total ignorance. If you are a seeker, you might feel a connection, but it is always an incomplete, unfulfilled experience. To live that in every particle of our being, right down to the cell, this is the yoga of Sri Aurobindo. Because matter is made of the stuff of physical substance. The substance is made of energy that has been condensed in every cell, where the element of inconscience also is there, the element of the divine presence is there. To remove that inconscience, cell by cell, it's an enormous task. That is why it will take so long. But we first of all have to want to. We start by thinking this is not possible, so we'll not try. But we have to start. In every part of our nature, and body is us also. Our vital is us, mind is ourselves. We are very complex, we are made up of so many elements. To purify, to perfect, that is why perhaps, if you read the synthesis of yoga, have you? So, you have the different schools of yoga, of bhakti and jnana, but Sri Aurobindo has added one major section, the yoga of self-perfection. Every part of yourself, it's not just bhakti and jnana and karma, it is self-perfection. And in that self-perfection, the foundation is self-purification. Removes the elements that come in the way of manifesting the light amid half semblances of diviner things. These now could serve no more his regal turn. So this kind of incomplete experience of the divine, in a sense incomplete because where you reject one half of manifestation, accept the other half, this did not satisfy him anymore. His regal turn, it's like something who does royal, absolute in that sense. He is not going to be satisfied with something that is less than absolute, less than complete. These now could serve no more his regal turn. The immortal's pride refused the doom to live a miser of the scanty bargain made between our littleness and bounded hopes and the compassionate infinitudes. This is what we have. On the one hand, the divine presence, grace, compassion is there. On the other hand, we are bounded. We are small. And the divine within us, or someone who has experienced this consciousness, like Ashtrapati, he refused to accept something that is not absolute. So part of it, some part in me has experienced the light. I'm turned to the divine. I worship the divine. I feel the divine presence. But some part in me is not completely transformed. So I'm still one with the lower nature, the subconscious, the unconscious, inconscient. Because these are very obstinate. They have been there from the very long time. They got used to controlling us so long. So he refused to be like this, to be, on the one hand, slaves of nature, slaves of the lower nature, of desire, of unconsciousness, of ignorance. At the same time, he has had this supreme experience. So this is why he calls it the immortal's pride. It's an unusual image, but it is something that does not accept semi-perfection, a kind of half-perfection. If it is perfect, it has to be complete. So it becomes a doom. For us, it is normal. For whoever has experienced something as the divine moment of, or a flash of the divine contact, you say, it is my most beautiful moment. So the rest doesn't matter, but that moment is special. He says the rest does matter. Why can't I experience the divine all the time? Why only if in a short while? The immortal's pride refused the doom to live, a miser of the scanty bargain. We have been made as if a bargain has been made. You make a deal. I'll give you this much. It is as if the divine says, I'll give you this much. This much I won't give. We are not ready for it. So there is on the one hand, I'm human, on the other hand, I'm divine, and I have to live with that. He says, no, the human is the divine. The darkness is the light. To have a little bit of that light projected in my human nature is like a miser who is holding on to most of his wealth and only shows a little bit of, spends a little of that wealth in the play of consciousness, in a play of change and perfection. He refused this. This is really the starting point of the emergence of the new consciousness. It is not a continuation of the old. This is a breaking out of the old world of the overmind. Today is the birthday of Sri Krishna. So, he is the God of the overmind. He gives us the experience of the divine presence in all things, of course, in all things below the supermind, where there is obviously no differentiation between any one individual and another, where the ego definitely has to be removed. But what is the source of all light? You follow one path. You follow the path of surrender. You follow the path of action. If he has guided you towards action, you follow that path of action. But to become the supreme totality of the origin, to become one with the supreme origin, that is not shown to us. So this is what Sri Aurobindo says. It is as if he goes further. He goes further from the point of the view of the overmental world, where you have separate realizations of separate gods, each one an embodiment of something that is totally divine but separated from the others. That has to be replaced by the total spherical global consciousness of the supramental. He has reached that height. His height repelled the lowness of earth state. This is what he says. We accept our humanity as natural and say, yes, I'm like that. He repels it. At a certain point, a strong distaste. There is that passage when Ashwapati addresses his daughter, before he addresses his daughter, before the call to the quest, is, how long will you tread the circling tracks of mind? Oh, strong. How long will this go on? We have to come out of this. We have to break out of this. This is the lowness of earth state. We accept ourselves the way we are. A wideness discontented with its frame. Even if we become one with or experience the divine, we have widened our consciousness. We have broken out of the ego, and yet still there is a frame. If there is a frame, there is a limit. So that limit, some of it is time. I believe in time. To be one with the eternal, to be one with the infinite, timeless, spaceless, total. His height repelled the lowness of earth's state, a wideness discontented with its frame, resile from poor assent to nature's terms. This is what we do. We assent, we give our consent to terms of nature. We often make explanations, excuses. That I'm sorry, I can't do your yoga, it is too difficult for me. It's like saying, you do it for me, which is surrender. I can't do it, you do it for me. There were those early sadhaks who would tell the mother, you do my yoga for me, I can't do it. Because it's too much, it's too difficult. But they had not reached Ashwapati stage. Ashwapati is Sri Aurobindo. That acceptance of our imperfection as I can't come out of it. I'm entrapped in this smallness. What can I do? It's very sweet, the reliance on the divine. There was, for instance, Ambu, who would tell the mother, I can't read. Because when I read one page, I turn the page, I've forgotten the previous page. Nothing stays with me. So, you please read for me. You give me, then mother said, you write something. Every day one sentence. You write for me. So that's why she called him her baby. But she wrote for him. She accepts us for what we are. But not that we go anywhere near the Supreme Consciousness. That dependence, that she accepts us for the way we are, and the total self-giving is very beautiful, but it accepts the fact that we cannot change. I can't do it, you do it for me. That is what Mother says, if you want that, I can do it for you. I'll do your sadhana for you, but you have to give up your ego, which is not easy, of course, that ties us down. So, his height repelled the lowness of earth's state, a wideness discontented with its frame, resile from poor assent to nature's terms, the harsh contract spurned and the diminished lease. The diminished lease, because as we move along in the world of time, our lease decreases, isn't it? We walk on the road and we are allotted a certain amount of time, maybe 100 years. After some time, it's no longer 100 years. The lease has shortened. So within this time, do whatever you can. You have to hurry up, you have to finish. This she spurned. If you live in eternity, the sense, the pressure that I'm losing my energy, I'm losing my youth, I'm using my strength, I can't do this anymore. He repelled, he pushed this way of being away from him. He spurned it. Because of the way we are, often those who have even offered themselves to the divine, have offered themselves as they are. They haven't changed. They remain the same. You put yourself at the feet of the divine, but yourself is the same self. But it is full of love and surrender, unquestioning, self-giving. That is already beautiful. But the stuff remains the same. The stuff of nature. So the next line, it says, only beginnings are accomplished here. Our basis, matter, seems alone complete. So nature has created for us a foundation, the world of matter. We are part of that world. It's a play of energy, and it is the platform on which you stand. This alone is complete. An absolute machine without a soul. But how can that become our foundation from which we grow, out of which we climb, we change, unless that matter is not the source of all change? It seems complete, but that is the source from which all the strength of aspiration and change come. Our basis matter seems alone complete. an absolute machine without a soul. This is what the material sheath, the embodiment is. But the soul is everywhere. The soul is in every cell, in every particle of your body. You say, no. You say your soul is in your little finger. No. I don't feel the soul in my little finger. The soul is inside the heart center. The soul is everywhere. There is nothing which is not a soul. But it may not seem so to me, because we like to make categories, distinctions. So this is divine, this is not. So it becomes something that is a machine, mechanical, that can be made to obey. Like a machine, I can make it obey my will if I know how to handle it properly, but itself has no soul. Or all seems a misfit of half ideas, or we saddle with the vice of earthly form, a hurried, imperfect glimpse of heavenly things. It is almost a vice. Earthly form is limited. Earthly form is fixed. Earthly form can slowly get, you might say, break down, can be misused like a machine. After a while, it doesn't function anymore. So this is a half idea, that this earthly life is the field of spiritual experience. But how can this earthly life, we say, be the field of all spiritual manifestation if this earthly life is constantly getting broken up, distorted, filled with error, filled with difficulties? I have to give up this earthly life because it is open to all kinds of attacks, all kinds of diminishings. It gets diminished constantly. So we saddle, that is, we place, we force with the vice of earthly form. Earthly form becomes a vice. Earthly form is a grace, we don't remember that. It is also a manifestation of the divine. You say, no, you get out of your earthly body. As long as you're in a body, you are trapped in the laws of matter. And the laws of matter is something that slowly gets diminished, slowly gets degraded, and like the body will gradually break down. So we saddle with the vice of earthly form, a hurried, imperfect glimpse of heavenly things, guesses and travesties of celestial types. Celestial types are gods, and we have, for our own benefit, given human form to celestial types, which are sometimes, a travesty is a disguise, a bad disguise, a distortion. So when we say, if I do this, so Mahalakshmi will be annoyed, or the goddess will go away from me because I have not offered her the demand she had made, to give her the demand she had made. All these are what religion has often done. We make some kind of a treaty with the gods, that if you do this for me, I will do this for you. This is a travesty. The divine is beyond all that. But it helps us for a while. It puts us into a particular relationship with the gods. That it forces us to behave in a particular way so that the divine is not, you might say, annoyed with us. Sometimes you feel the divine is annoyed with me, angry with me, so I have misbehaved, so I have not to misbehave. Misbehave means being insincere, untruthful. I am a hypocrite, or I am a cheat, or a liar. All these things will displease the divine. And she does. At a certain stage, these gods go away. They go away and they find that this person is not really fit to receive the grace, the whole grace. So the divine moves away. This is what we sometimes do. This is not the whole truth. That's all.